Hey guys, Z-Muscle here. Sorry about my horrible procrastination. So what I'm going to be doing instead is that I'm going to do one chapter at a time. Should allow me to get videos out more often. And yeah, so anyway, I'll give you now Chapter 3. Chapter 3. Things changed for Rainbow Dash as the years went by. She finally accepted Clay as her adopted son. And when that day came, she was glowing with pride, which was a large turn from wanting him out of her life and not being able to stomach the thought of anything happening to him. Applejack would constantly tease Dash about how she was being so protective of Clay, and Dash would simply chuckle.
Isn't that what a mother does?
Dash had told Clay about him being adopted when he was old enough to talk and understand what was being said to him. She didn't want him finding out at a point when he was too old, or finding out from another pony somewhere. The talk was awkward and difficult for Dash, but she managed to say what needed to be said. And to Dash's surprise, he handled it rather well. That put most of Dash's fears to rest. Clay was now 6 years old, and like most ponies at his age, he was trying to find his special talent and earn his cutie mark. In the early years, Dash would have suggested doing multiple and adventurous things to find it quicker, but that was before she had a colt of her own, and whenever he went out on his own, she would secretly fly overhead and keep an eye on him. Taking care of Clay the last 6 years had tested Dash as she tried being a mom and a Wonderbolt at the same time. But with the help of her friends and the passion, she had become one of the Wonderbolts. She managed to find some middle ground where she could still be part of the team and still spend plenty of time with her son. All in all, she figured she had it pretty good right now. A high-paying job that she loved, a loving son to come to when she was back from said job, and good friends there when she needed them. Yup, life was pretty good for the Scion Pegasus. Yet each year there was one thing she couldn't keep down, no matter how hard she tried.
What if some pony claims him?
Each time that thought crossed her mind, her stomach would feel like it was doing somersaults. But tonight was not a night to worry about such things. Tonight was a special night. Dash hurried to her home, flying in the night sky as fast as her wings would go. She was excited because she wanted to see her son, and she wasn't stopping for anything, not even to change out of her Wonderbolt uniform. Dash landed silently at the front door of her house, folded her wings, and pushed past the front door to be greeted by her friend Twilight, who was reading a book, and Clay, whose face lit up with joy at the sight of her.
Mommy, Mommy, you're back!
The little Earth Pony cried as he ran up to Dash, nuzzling her leg. Dash gave a warm smile.
Of course I'm back, Squirt,
Dash said, ruffling his mane.
Did you behave for your Aunt Twilight today?
Yes, Mommy. It was so much fun today. Aunt Twilight showed me a book on how Pegasus could fly and make the weather.
The little Earth Pony squeaked up at her.
You did? Was it awesome?
Dash said, lifting him up onto her back.
Yeah, it was totally awesome,
Clay shouted, raising his hoofs over his head. Then his face looked curious.
Hey, Mommy, can you really control the weather like the others?
Dash looked up at him.
Of course I can. I could clear the sky in 10 seconds flat.
Clay's eyes widened in amazement. Twilight chuckled as she recalled Dash telling her the same thing when they first met. Clay gave a slight yawn, covering his mouth with one of his hoofs.
I think it's time some pony went to bed,
Twilight said, glancing at Clay.
Aww, but Aunt Twilight, I'm not tired, and Mommy just got home. Just a few more minutes, please.
Both Twilight and Clay looked to Dash for an answer.
Oh, all right, you can stay up a little longer, but then you gotta go to bed, okay? Tomorrow's your big day. Yay, thanks, Mommy.
Clay yelled, hugging Dash around the neck before he jumped off her back and ran up the stairs to his room. Dash turned to Twilight.
Does he suspect anything?
Twilight shook her head. No, he was mostly interested in the book about the Society of Pegasi.
Good, I don't want his surprise ruined before tomorrow.
She had been working on this surprise for Clay for a while. She knew Pinkie could keep a secret, especially when it came to surprises. But Twilight was a terrible liar. Twilight said goodnight, then left her home. Dash sighed from exhaustion, then headed upstairs. Went to her room and changed out of her uniform. She then trotted down the hall towards Clay's room, where she found him playing with Spitfire and Soaring collectibles, making whooshing noises as he made them do imaginary stunts. He began talking like an announcer.
Spitfire and Soren prepare to do their most exciting and most dangerous flight stunt ever. They're pulling up at speeds of a bazillion miles per hour. Spitfire and Soren go into a swan dive, spiraling towards the ground. What will they... Look over there, in the sky. It's Rainbow Dash coming at full speed. It looks like she's starting to break the sound barrier. Is she? She could... Yes! Yes, it is, fillies and gentle colts. It's a sonic rainboom.
He then did an imitation of an explosion.
The crowd goes wild.
Dash smiled as she saw Clay's imagination run wild. It warmed her heart that he still made her the star of his imaginations. He may not have been a Pegasus, but he loved the Wonderbolts as much as she did when she was his age. Actually, he found anything having to do with Pegasi fascinating. She always found her own kind interesting, but she had never seen an Earth pony have so much interest in Pegasi as much as Clay. From almost the very first moments he could talk, all he wanted to do was ask questions about Dash's pony race, as if nothing else existed. As Clay continued playing, Dash knocked a hoof on the door a few times, startling Clay due to him being so wrapped up in his little play.
Sorry, Clay. I didn't mean to scare you.
Dash picked up his miniature Spitfire and Soren figures and placed them on his nearby bedstand, then hopped into his bed, resting his head on his pillow. Dash walked in and pulled the blankets over his body with her mouth. Then she sat down next to him on the bed.
So, are you excited about turning 7 tomorrow? Uh-huh. I'm gonna be a big pony soon.
Dash continued to smile at the young colt.
Well, not for a few more years, but you'll get there soon enough.
Clay smiled and turned his gaze over to his mother's cutie mark. He then gave it a puzzled and slightly worried look.
Mommy? When am I gonna get my cutie mark?
Dash leaned in closer with a warm smile on her face.
You'll get there soon enough. Now go to sleep.
She kissed him on the forehead and got up and turned on his Wonderbolt nightlight and started to leave the room. But as she went closer to the door to turn out his bedroom light, Clay said something that made Dash stop in her tracks.
Good night, Mommy. I love you.
Her heart felt like it was going to explode. She knew he loved her, but this is the first time he had actually told her, "I love you." The words rang in her head, and the joy she had felt at that moment was indescribable. She then turned to face him, and in a small shaky voice, she replied,
I love you too, Clay.
The yellow Earth pony turned over in his bed and drifted off to sleep. As Dash turned off the bedroom light, a single tear rolled down her cheek. She walked back to her room, leaving her door open slightly, in case Clay had a nightmare, brushed her teeth, and got into her bed. But instead of falling asleep from her long, tiring day performing tricks, she was now wide awake from the warmth she felt earlier. For a while, she stared at the ceiling. Dash soon found her mind wandering to multiple occasions she had with Clay. One in particular was Heartswarming Eve, when she and Clay had gotten up and opened their presents. Clay was overjoyed at Dash's gift, the very toys he had been playing with earlier. But one thing puzzled her.
Clay, why didn't you ask for a Rainbow Dash toy to complete the set?
What he said next, she would never forget as he replied,
I don't need a toy. I've got the real Rainbow Dash as my mom.
He then hugged Dash with a big smile on his face. That day, she watched him play with those toys for hours, just watching with a happy smile on her face. The same smile reappeared on her face as she laid in bed in the present day, until finally, Dash's eyes grew heavy.
Tomorrow's gonna be a good day.
She finally drifted off to sleep with a smile on her face, a tear running down her cheek.